Justin, these lights are as bright as our future.
I hope so, because I am blinded right now. So, Drew, we have became friends over a long journey that started with JMac looking for a manufacturing partner.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right. I have the same information on that. That checks out.
Does your story match mine?
It does.
Okay, so
Crazy.
So fact check so far. We're
right.
good on this conversation. When we were told that we were going to do this podcast, I was thinking, when you put Drew and I in the same room together, we can't stay on topic for more than 5 seconds about anything. So this is going to be an interesting podcast.
We have an interesting dynamic of being super productive and super non-productive at the same time. I think that's one of our greatest talents.
We go to the extreme with everything that we do. I would say that would be a valid statement.
Yeah. Uh-huh. For better or for worse.
Yeah, definitely. So back to the manufacturing partner.
All right.
I made a post on Facebook, and the premise of the post was, hey, we need a machine shop to manufacture our products. We were looking to expand and to do some new things, and we were also looking to have some of our production more organized because it seemed like we would manufacture a product, it would go out of stock, and then restocking that product was just a major ordeal. So I made a post on Facebook. We had a mutual friend who we didn't know was a mutual friend, of course, at the time. We didn't know each other at the time. And he tagged you in the comments, and he was like, well, my buddy Drew Johnson is doing his own thing. It might be a good time to link up with him. So what were you starting off at that time? And I'll let you tell your side of the story at that point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we were a few years in. We had moved into our first building. I was running my first mill out of my garage, and we moved into a little bit bigger space. And at that situation, we were doing a lot of variety for a big variety of clients, and it was very, I don't know, not streamlined, I guess. We were doing like really tiny titanium parts, giant steel parts, and it was very inefficient to get through the shop. So we were kind of, taking whatever we could get at the time to kind of build a reputation and whatnot, but it wasn't really going that smoothly. I guess at that point, we were trying to figure out how to navigate it. We actually got to a situation where we almost liquidated the shop because some things just weren't lining up. We were getting work, but we weren't able to make it profitable at the time, and going through some bumps internally. And so that's where I think when I got an email from you, and I remember responding to it so formally, which is hilarious compared to how we communicate now. But it was, and it was kind of like amidst all that we did that one part. I think wasn't it a 4C?
So that was my generic part for people to quote.
Oh,
so I would email that CAD drawing to all of the machine shops at that time. Like, here, sign this NDA, and I'll send this part. And I had an idea of where I wanted the cost to be on that part. So that was like the generic quote this.
That was okay, yeah.
But yeah, that's how we kicked it off, right?
Yeah. And then, because I think it was that, and then the LAF, I think, was like right behind that.
The LAF. We started that here, right? With the titanium.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that one, I think it started at the old shop, and I feel like we finished it here, because it was right about at the time that we switched over.
Yeah.
Because I think what it kind of happened quickly, because we got that opportunity. Our first break that we did with you, we got it in, and then it was right about that time that we were really struggling to find our path forward, and we decided, in the background, kind of not knowing what this opportunity was, that we were going to, literally shut the doors and just sell everything out. We had some, between the partners, we had some disagreements on direction. We're just basically scraping by, and it was about 2 weeks before we were going to sell our equipment off. And I was laying on the floor of the shop, as you do when you're reflecting, with the lights off, staring at the ceiling. I'm like, there's got to be some, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right, because it just, the years of work lining up to this, we're just going to be essentially nothing. And it just didn't feel right. So, somewhere along that, I remembered you making some mention of some of the frustrations you had with some of the work you were going through with some of the machine shops you'd work with, and it's like maybe there's a fit here. And I think it was the next day I called and I'm like, hey, if we prioritize you guys, would you be willing to send some more work our way? And that was pretty much what just kicked the whole thing off.
Yeah, and our biggest deal is at the end of the day, JMac Customs is a design and marketing firm. So we design products and we market them, and that's exactly what we do. So we didn't have that good partner, and we ultimately hit a ceiling. We couldn't grow any faster than the machine shops that we were working with. So I saw a opportunity with you, and I was like, "This dude's serious." And
super serious.
Super serious. And when we talked about, like, I remember the conversation well. You started manufacturing for us, and I was my comment, I believe, was like you said, how can we be your number one priority? We want to link up with it's more, at the time, it was just a manufacturing facility. We want to link up with a manufacturer to make our products, but we want to be the number one priority of that shop. And I was like, at the time, we laugh about this today, like, what does that look like and how can we navigate that? And I'll never forget your ask for that was. I'll let you go over that.
Well, what was it? Yeah, I was trying to line up a machine. I was like, if we can get this machine, what was that? What were we asking for? Like, was it $20K a month or something?
$25,000 a month.
$25,000 a month. Yeah, I'm like, if we can do $25,000 a month, we can justify this equipment. And I remember you're like, I can't promise that, but like, we'll give you everything we got.
I was stressed out because, like, we could have the sales if we had the products, but we never had the products. And it was just like this, like, back and forth all the time. So I was like, man, I don't know. That's a lot to ask for. Like, $25K a month is, that's a big challenge for us just due to sales.
Yeah.
But I think we can work our way to it. For the frame of reference, that's like 4 days now.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. That's what we spend with you in 4 days, approximately.
I tracked that email down. We need to frame that thing. That was hilarious. That was long. I was like so stressed too. I was like going back and forth. I'm like, this could be such an opportunity. But the best part of it was, I think after we figured it out, we fired all our clients and you fired all your vendors in the same
That's exactly
move.
what happened. Yep.
Yeah.
Never so happy to do so. Actually, Ash was, she was super excited to fire people when all that happened. She's like, I want to write the email.
Yeah. Can't wait. Let's do this. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the start of great things on the manufacturing side. So the manufacturing was just the first part of our relationship, co-designing products. And early on in the start, we would have I'd have a harebrained idea at 11 o'clock at night, and I'd call you up and be like, hey dude, what if we change this and then add this feature and then we could have a whole new product? And Drew would be like, oh, I love it. Let's do it. And then like 2 days later, I'd have overnighted at my door up like a one-off prototype.
Yeah.
And like, you look at like those times, how nimble and small and how quickly we could deploy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Versus the size that we are now, where it's like, well, if you want a prototype, we're going to have to shut this machine down that's making 1,000 products currently, and it's going to affect your production for 3 months. So
it's a little different. It was the Wild West back then. We just like wing. It was just, let's try this. Sounds good. It's in your door. Run a huge production volume of 25 pieces. See how it affected the market.
Yeah. And at that time, it was just you, Missy, and G. Well, not always, but for a short period of time there was 3 people like completely.
When we were doing our initial
everything.
thing, it was just because we started off at our old shop, and it was just me in the room, and Arnie was doing his kind of like the back end stuff. So that was
that's right, yeah.
And then we got the new space, and then Missy and G came pretty shortly after, and we had the semblance of a little team going.
Yeah. So then we got into the whole like shipping side of things. And at the time, we were having our manufacturing partners ship the products to us so we could look at them. Then we were shipping those products to the secondary processing facilities. They were processing them. Then they were shipping them back to us, where we were doing the quality check number 3 again. and then bagging them and putting them on shelves at the house. And we've done a lot since then. So I think the first thing that we did was local processing to save those shipping fees.
Yeah, we started finding new vendors in the area that align with the needs, and we were basically started handling that. We could drive there, have the nitriding done or the anodizing done, bring it back in house, so we weren't having that kind of stuff. Reduce the timelines, and then at that point, we were just shipping you finished product that you guys would do your final glance over, and then pack, because you were doing all of the kitting and fulfillment out of your was living room, den. What was the?
It was consuming a lot of the house at that time. It was the whole. I call it the dining room. Ash hates it when I call it the dining room, but it's our karaoke room right now.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
It was a room that had a dining table in it, and then we had a shelving system on the left-hand side that looked like a piece of nice furniture, and then we had an armoire on the other wall. So when you close everything up, it still looked like a dining room. You would have never know there was a business in there. But when you start opening doors, it was full of products in bins.
But it's safe to say that JMac fulfillment at the time was interfering with your karaoke.
That's definitely, and I would also go to the next extent and say it was interfering with my relationship.
Oh, that's probably also important.
Well, I mean, you can kind of mend some of that when you got karaoke,
Yes, exactly.
but not the other way around.
Karaoke heals the soul. Yeah.
So we had it in our kitchen. We had all that full of product. Then you opened the door to our garage, and we had shelving that had all of the products. But it was like we would get the stuff back from nitride, and it would be covered in oil. So we're wiping down oil inside our house.
Yeah.
Our whole house smelled like oil all the time. And Ash was about to pull her hair out. She was shipping like 18 hours a day. So the next step was I got with Ash, and I was like going back and forth with you saying, hey, what does it look like if we turn the facility in not only from a machine shop, but also a warehouse, and then a warehouse fulfillment center. So Drew was like, well, I'll let you tell your side of the story on that one.
Oh yeah. Well, I just, how hard can fulfillment be is kind of the first thing that stupidly went through my head.
Well, you figured that out really quick, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it just, I have this conversation with a lot of people. It's hilarious because fulfillment on paper is pretty easy. It's just like, here's an order, just grab something off the shelf and put it in. But, not one to shy away from a challenge. We took it on and, realized very quickly, like, managing inventory. It's amazing that something as simple as like counting, that you have enough people involved and pretty soon your numbers are all over the place and whatnot. So it was a little bit of a bumpy start. I think, because we didn't even have any like organizational systems at the beginning. So I think I remember how proud we were when we had our first shelf that we put JMac product in. I think I sent you a photo of it. It was just, I was like, shelf, we had, whopping couple hundred parts on it, one shelf, and it was pretty incredible. But, yeah, we had to really proceduralize that. I think, while Missy was still here, she got us started with that and did an awesome job. And then, when Kate came on board, she, basically had to, document and organize that whole thing. And it went from bumpy starts. It's rock solid now. And we've had a really good track record with that, but it's been, it's definitely a humbling experience. I feel like every time you get into something new, it's always so easy to underestimate, like, oh, this is, no big deal. We'll just get this in. And it's like, you learn every nook and cranny of the complexities of that, but, running like a top now. And I think that, really the benefits, cause with doing the secondary processing locally, all the machining, and then being able to take on kitting and fulfillment in house, parts don't have to go far. So like cutting out all that shipping costs and whatnot, and realistically, just where we needed you guys at, and where your focus is, as you said, like is a marketing operation. It's like you guys are driving the sale, driving the direction of JMac and the product and whatnot. So that was a good alignment. I think it allowed you guys to focus better on what you need to be focusing on, and us to offload some of those I guess burdens of business that didn't need to be clouding your space.
Yeah, and it was super inefficient for us at the same time too. It made a lot more sense to be here. The other thing that comes along with like you said, the kitting, that's a major part. That takes a lot of standards. You've got papers on the walls now, and put this bolt in and
Yeah.
loosely tighten it, and just like all those little things that we were doing. It's easy for us to do because we're used to doing it, but when you transition that task to someone else, we may not have documented what our processes were.
Yeah.
So that honestly transition, we're talking about it like it happened in like a day or two, but like that transition was a pretty painstaking process for us to try to get, what was in my head and what Ash was doing transferred to you and the people that are executing it here.
Yeah,
So
halfway across the country.
the amount of processes that we've put in place from like when we first started to now is insane. And not only processes, we had to get new software systems, we had to get new management systems, just like the software that we use for our warehouse. When we started, we had no need for it.
Yeah.
But we would be crippled without it today. It blows my mind to think we went from shipping out of our dining room to having a full-blown shipping fulfillment center.
Yeah.
And the software opened up new opportunities with additional digital warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about the manufacturing, but the other thing that we really were able to accomplish with MDI is having that inventory management.
Mm-hmm.
Having the products available when we need them. Instead of making a run of 100 products, we started looking at, what does 3 months consumption look like? And then if we know what that metric is, 3 or 4 months, let's say, all right, we want to make JMac 4 months worth of products, but we also want to make the most of our time while we're running the machine. So let's double that. And now that we have a digital warehouse, and now a physical warehouse, let's put 8 months worth, let's make 8 months worth of products, put 4 months in our warehouse, put 4 months in JMac's warehouse. And then when the time comes, we already have that product shelved and available for them to purchase. And I think that when it comes to wholesale, OEM, that just absolutely changed the game. The ebbs and flows of keeping things in inventory, and I think at the end of the day, delivering to the customers, providing them what they want when they want it, that just absolutely made a world of difference.
Yeah, I think it kind of allowed us to work with like higher volumes to really get the most out of our shop, because as we were growing, we started, I think we had 3 machines when we started working with you. We're up to 14 now, and I think that was one of those, we were kind of strapped on, I guess, manpower to do that as we're growing. So it's like the guys were always joking. They're like, every day we walk in, there's a new machine being put down somewhere. And to keep them all running, we have to spread resources out. So if we keep something running, we could be focusing on the next job and the next machine and get our uptime. Because, we've been, for the last year or so now, we've been running a 24/7 shift in the machine shop. And I think being able to do volumes has been what's been able to allow us to maximize that output and be able to, keep reinvesting and doubling down and keeping up with, the insane pace you guys have been on and growing. It's been, 2Xing whatever every year. The last 5 years, it's been a little bonkers.
Yeah.
Makes that initial 20K.
We had a 4X year when we actually not the first year that we were together, the second year after we started getting things in place, we grew 4 times.
Yeah.
And I think it was all due to the processes that we've talked about.
Yeah. It's, team wise, the amount of people that we are involved in the day to day now, it's pretty wild. Even with having Katie, like her entire focus is coordinating the efforts on both ends of the spectrum. So
and keeping you and I both in line.
Yeah. It takes a village to keep us on track, I think.
Shoot. So, JMac has a very specific vision. We want to be the leading quality U.S. manufacturer, and we want to make sure that we put a lot of thought and innovation in our products. What made you and I a great fit is I feel that you also had that same vision. You don't want to make a bunch of and I don't want to use the word cheap, but you don't want to just rip a bunch of products that are insignificant. What you make, you want to put a lot of thought and intention in, and you want it also to be innovative and quality. You like the quality materials. You're super concerned about finishes, which we were too. Machine chatter drives you absolutely bonkers, and it does me too. So I think the partnership between us worked so well. Trust is a big thing. So it takes a long time to trust anyone, but we've developed the trust. But more so than the trust, we have the same vision. We want to, in, I don't know, 100 years from now, we want to leave that legacy that we made good stuff. I was going to say a bad word, but I probably shouldn't say that. That we made awesome products and put them out there, and they're not just enjoyed for a short time, they're enjoyed for a long time and could be passed down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was it's been nice because I never wanted to get into. I mean, there's plenty of ways you can run a shop or a business, and you can be in a situation that you align with the volume game. We're going to make, hundreds of thousands, millions of these simple parts, and it's going to be entirely a cost game. Our customer's going to go with us because we can offer the lowest price on this thing, and some value add. But I've always liked the technical challenges of signing up for the things that other people don't want to do or can't do, or whatever the case is. And so a lot of times, like with you, when we'd talk about something, it was always like we're on the same page, because it's like, well, let's not make this muzzle brake just because it's the simple, cheapest opportunity on the market. We don't want to get there. So it's like we've never had to disagree on that thing. So we needed, we've had obviously cost conversations. We need to be competitive and we need to be relevant, but we always were, let's make the best one on the market. And that's how I've always been. So we've never really had to, I guess we've never come at a misalignment with that goal. So we've always been tracking with that. And that made it really easy for me, because I didn't need to persuade you with anything, or I didn't need to step in an area that I wasn't really interested in. So that's what always, our whole thing has been like, our tagline's empowering invention. And that's something that we want to do, creating new things and to improve what's out there and make products better, enhance the user experience, all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to working with JMac, it's 100% alignment there. And that made it really easy for us to connect and really kind of work together on making awesome product, reinventing what's in the market, and, just kicking some serious ass.
Yeah. So how many years have we been doing this together? 5, 6, 5?
5 or 6, I think.
Yeah.
It might be closer to 6 now, because I feel like I think 5's when we got the building here. So,
well,
ish.
Awesome first 6 years. I'm looking forward to the next.
The next 600.
Next 600, yeah, at least, yeah, for sure. Maybe not for us, but whoever takes it on after us.
Yeah, we can build the empire and let them continue it.
We'll start writing down all the processes now out of our brains, so it's an easier transition.
You and I won't naturally do that.
Okay, so from manufacturing to kitting to warehousing to inventory management and to building a team. That's been building the team, and now we're dialing in processes, working on efficiencies. I think those are all still the things that are foremost important right now. And I think that'll be even more important going into 2024. We're going to be really focused on our team and basically, finding the best way to do what we do and make it more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. I mean, as we've totally, really scaled up the amount of people we have. We've become, departmentalized. So, we've got engineering department, we got fulfillment, we got all these different areas that it's, optimizing those things, improving processes, gaining efficiency, and really positioning ourselves to continue to innovate and, make the best products on the market.
We hope you liked Drew and our story on how we built JMac and MDI Co. jointly. MDI Co. is our sister company. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please drop a comment below. If you have a similar story that you want to share, drop it in the comments.